and welcome to this week's edition of World Today. It has been a tiring, sleepless but interesting week because of the US elections. We'll talk about that and how, for Joe Biden, this has been third time lucky. Also in the show, we'll be discussing the dastardly attack that took place in Vienna amid outrage over Prophet Muhammad's cartoons that has left Europe in disarray. This has been the longest it has taken to announce the election results in the recent US political history. Amid that, there have been war of words between President Trump and the Democratic faction. President Trump has not only leveled allegations and accusations against the Biden camp, but also against the entire electoral system. So much so that on Thursday night, most of the networks in the United States of America had to cut out of his speech accusing President Trump of lying.
In America, the vote is sacred. It's how people of this nation express their will. And it is the will of the voters, no one, not anything else, that chooses the President of the United States of America. So, each ballot must be counted. And that's what we're going to see going through now. And that's how it should be.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. If you count the votes that came in late, we're looking at them very strongly, but a lot of votes came in late. I've already decisively won many critical states, including massive victories in Florida, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio. To name just a few, we won these and many other victories despite historic election interference from big media, big money, and big tech. And the pollsters got it knowingly wrong. They got it knowingly wrong. Joe Biden is a corrupt politician who raked in millions from China while giving them your jobs.
We are campaigning as a Democrat, but I will govern as an American president.
If he succeeds in clinching the numbers and if he succeeds in winning the presidency, he will be 78 years old on the day of the inauguration. Joe Biden will be the oldest elected president ever in the United States of America. But here's a little more about Joe Biden, the man who's under the spotlight.
Joseph R. Biden Jr. With almost half a century on the national political stage, Joe Biden is all set to achieve a decades-long dream of winning the White House and becoming the President of the United States.
I accept this nomination for President of the United States of America.
But these are unprecedented times, not just globally, but in American history, as the nation battles a viral pandemic, a slump in economy, and a deeply divided society. Biden has sought to capitalize on his experience as a longtime senator and vice president, and cast himself as a steady and seasoned force in a chaotic and increasingly dangerous world. This wasn't Biden's first presidential race. In fact, this was his third. He first tried in 1988, but dropped out after allegations of plagiarism. He ended his second attempt in 2008 after garnering less than 1% in the crucial Iowa caucus. Within a few months, Biden embraced a new position.
Let me say it as simply as I can. Yes, I accept your nomination to run and serve with Barack Obama, the next President of the United States of America.
Known as middle-class Joe, Biden boasts of a record 4 decades in public office. First elected as a Newcastle County Councillor in 1970, he became the 6th youngest senator in American history when he was elected to the US Senate from Delaware in 1972. Later, he went on to be elected 5 more times to the US Senate. Former President Barack Obama has called him the best vice president America has ever had.
The best vice president America's ever had, Mr. Joe Biden.
International strategic experts claim Biden prefers alliances and collective problem solving, something which would mark a return of US to global alliances, a strategy that was dismissed in the Trump years. Biden, with his significant experience as a career diplomat, has claimed he has spent more time with Chinese President Xi than any other world leader, experience that Trump lacks. And thus, he will be able to mend the tense relationship shared by two of the world's biggest economies. So what will a Biden presidency spell for America and the world? The answer is yet not known. But as Biden asks his followers to keep the faith, so does the world wait.
Democracy is sometimes messy. It sometimes requires a little patience as well. But that patience has been rewarded now for more than 240 years with a system of governance that's been the envy of the world.
He has been an unconventional presidential candidate and an unconventional American president. Donald Trump's 4-year rule has been marred with controversies, beginning from walking out of the climate change agreement, or for that matter, walking out of the Iran nuclear deal, as also banning immigrants and sparking controversies over race. Donald Trump's 4-year rule has been memorable, if not remarkable. Let's take a look at his 4 years in the White House.
Donald J. Trump will probably go down in history as one of the most controversial presidents that the United States of America had ever had. Businessman turned politician, Donald Trump's first term as US president was marked by tumult and controversy.
America first.
Riding into power on a campaign promoting an America First message, his was a government which saw the emergence of new terms like post-truth and alternate facts. In a highly divisive world, Trump's presidency created deeper distrust and ethnic lines amongst news outlets and even climate crusaders. Trump survived an impeachment drama, and as he entered the final year of his first term, the coronavirus pandemic began killing hundreds of thousands of Americans and infecting millions of people, including himself.
I want everybody to be given the same treatment as your president, because I feel great. I feel like perfect. So I think this was a blessing from God that I caught it. This was a blessing in disguise.
Trump won the 2016 US election in an upset over Democrat Hillary Clinton, losing the nationwide popular vote by about 3 million, but prevailing in crucial battleground states that helped him amass an electoral college majority.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
From the beginning of his presidency, America had been roiled by protests. In January 2017, as soon as he took charge, he imposed a travel ban and pushed ahead with his plans to build a wall along the southern border with Mexico. This had a domino effect, with immigrants being detained and families being pulled apart.
People coming into the country are trying to come in. We're stopping a lot of them. But we're taking people out of the country. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. These aren't people. These are animals.
President Trump's first term in office came during a time of political polarization across America and dysfunction in Washington. He kept his popularity record undisturbed by record low unemployment and rising wages that helped the less well-off on the one hand, and the record stock market buoyed rich Americans on the other hand. One of the most contentious aspects of his presidency was the foreign policies the White House pushed through under Trump. He denounced globalism and focused American foreign policy around an America First worldview. He walked away from an international treaty over Iran's nuclear program and a global accord to combat climate change, reversed environmental protections and rolled back warmer ties with Cuba.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
At home in the US, racial tensions simmered under Trump, with civil unrest flaring after incidents like the police killing of George Floyd, a black man in Minneapolis, in May 2020. Trump promised to maintain law and order. He called the protesters thugs and seemed to threaten violence, writing on Twitter, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts." He also sent camouflage-clad federal agents into the streets of Portland, Oregon, to confront protesters. Ever the showman, he proclaimed everything with the Trump label to be the greatest, the biggest, the best, the huge. Trump had teased about running for president as far back as 1988, and he had been registered in New York as a Democrat, an independent, and as a member of the Reform Party before joining the Republican Party in 2012. The outsider Trump in 2016 vanquished a field of 16 major Republican candidates to win the party's nomination that gave him a shot at becoming the most powerful man on earth. And like everything else that Trump did, he went through his presidency with a lot of bluster, theatrics, and grand posturing.
And we will make America great again.
While the anxious wait for the next US president continues, here's how it will impact thousands of miles away the Indian subcontinent and Asia.
The United States of America is getting a new president. It may still be the old president in a new term or a totally new president. The whole world has been watching the drama as the suspense unfolded in the US. In the Asian neighborhood of India, it possibly does not matter that much to China who becomes the US president, because in the world of contemporary geopolitics, the US and China remain antagonistic to each other. A new leader will not change that fact. In India, however, there is more at stake. India-US relations over the past couple of US administrations have seemingly evolved irrespective of which party's president was in the Oval Office. But Indian Americans, bona fide citizens of the US of A, but on opposite sides of their political spectrum, have a different take.
Trump has suspended the H-1 program, and Trump has increased the backlog for the green card for the Indian applicants. Biden has clearly said that he's going to increase the H-1 quota, revive the H-1 program, and support as per the industry needs. He's going to streamline the green card process, and the people will be getting the green card much faster under the Biden-Harris administration. Biden is going to stand against the aggression of China against India. Biden is against the cross-border terrorism and stands with India and supports India.
He takes on China and breaks their monopoly in the South China Sea and in other parts of the world. I think that's the reason why Secretary Pompeo went all over Indo-Asia Pacific. I think a lot has to do with the government of India to do with the ease of business, so that the more American companies can have stronger business ties with them. And importantly, the other one is fighting terrorism. It's one of the still important issue, concern for everyone. And I think it's to make sure that we fight the terrorists where they are and exterminate them.
It's a fact that on H-1B visa front, Trump administration was seen dragging its feet, and there are trade issues that have still not been ironed out. But experts believe that while these differences and shortfalls are there, any party that wins the elections would want strong ties with New Delhi. The big concern, however, for the current Indian government on a Biden-Harris win would be the human rights issue. While Joe Biden, on record, has not said anything specific, his running mate Kamala Harris has been critical on how the Indian government is handling the issue of Kashmir.
Both men support the idea of a deep, strong security partnership and a strategic partnership as well. So all of the forward movement made with the U.S.-India relationship in the Trump years would continue if there were a Biden administration, just like all of the progress from the Obama years continued in the Trump years.
I think the area you're likely to see the most stability would be looking at U.S.-India defense relations. The idea about focus more on Asia predated President Trump coming to office. Under President Obama, you saw the pivot or rebalance, and obviously India became a very integral part of that. With President Trump, the free and open Indo-Pacific, while they may have changed the name, overall the thrust and focus on Asia is very important, and India is going to be important in that. I think a Biden administration will be a little bit tougher on India and some of these divisive social issues we've been following. We can all debate on whether or not it's the United States' part to be active in those kind of discussions and deliberations, but I think it's likely to happen. On the upside, I think that cooperation on issues related to climate change is likely to really increase. It was really the underpinning of the relationship between President Obama and Prime Minister Modi.
Pundits in India are hopeful that India, being a huge market, may remain an important factor in stabilizing Indo-US ties. Moreover, the US would like a strong regional ally in India against China. It is felt that if Washington has to move forward to secure the Indo-Pacific, New Delhi is key. Apart from these issues, Biden as president could reverse Trump's decisions on Iran and revive the Iran nuclear deal. It is felt that this would allow India to grow trade and security relations with Tehran, which have been under strain because of the US-backed sanctions against Iran.
Biden is a more conventional, despite his quirks, a more conventional, predictable leader. And I think that as the U.S.-India relationship continues to deepen, I would think that there may be an advantage for India of having an interlocutor, a leader in the White House that is less mercurial, less conventional, a bit more stable.
Like every country around the globe, India too awaits the formal declaration on who will be the next president of the United States. After all, it is every country's concern on who occupies the seat of the most powerful human on earth.
Welcome back. One of the worst terror attacks in Vienna took place on Tuesday night, killing and wounding many. Crowded bars were targeted, witnesses say, because many people were taking advantage of the last evening before COVID lockdown hit. And that was when the terror strike took place. This is what unfolded in the Austrian capital of Vienna. Take a look.
Peace shattered by the burst of an assault rifle in the busy restaurant district of Vienna, the capital of Austria. A waitress of the restaurant, a young passerby, and two elderly people were killed in an indiscriminate firing, allegedly by a suspected Islamic State terrorist.
This is a terrorist attack, the severity of which we have, thank God, not had to suffer in Austria for a long time. Sadly, we have several wounded and several dead.
As ambulance and police sirens pierced the night, hundreds of police personnel fanned out across Vienna and multiple checkpoints were set up, with eyewitnesses reporting more than one terrorist. The police killed one of the suspected terrorists, armed with an assault rifle, a handgun and a machete.
Ja, Wahnsinn, das war irgendwann einmal zu erwarten, dass in Wien auch passiert. Das ist eine Großstadt und Berlin, Paris, irgendwann, das ist nur eine Frage der Zeit gewesen eigentlich. mehr dürfte.
Keine Ahnung. Diese Leute wollen immer Islam größer machen, aber die machen immer kleiner. Die andere Leute verstehen, Islam ist schlecht und sowas. Aber die Leute machen kaputt und sowas. Ich weiß nicht, was soll ich da sagen. Aber das ist nicht normal.
Local police also raided the house of a suspected terrorist identified as a 20-year-old male of Macedonian origin. French President Emmanuel Macron was the first to tweet his support to Austria in the war against terror. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted to say India stands with Austria during this tragic time.
Vienne et l'Autriche ont vécu hier soir la douleur, la peur, la blessure. Les victimes sont évidemment tombées et je pense à leurs familles et leur apporte tout notre soutien. Mais je pense aussi à ce que Vienne représente dans l'histoire de notre Europe.
A week before the Vienna attack, Nice in France witnessed a knife attack. But the one in Vienna involved multiple assailants across multiple locations in the city.
And now some other news from across the globe in World at a Glance.
Hospitals in Spain have struggled to cope with the recent influx of patients as the number of coronavirus cases continued to rise in the nation. Many intensive care units were operating near full capacity. In Spain, more than 38,000 have died and more than 1.2 million have contracted the virus, according to a tally by Johns Hopkins University. Streets in London were quiet as England entered the first day of its second national lockdown on Thursday. The normally bustling central areas, including around Trafalgar Square, St. Paul's Cathedral and the South Bank, were almost empty. Several European nations, including Greece, Italy, France, Germany, have also entered a second nationwide lockdown. People flocked to shops and bars a day before the virus lockdown was to begin. A Russian cafe chain introduced a robotic innovation aimed at providing contactless service at a time when the country is witnessing new coronavirus cases. Equipped with trays and digital screen featuring a cat's snout, the robot drives in between tables, delivering orders from the kitchen to customers and taking dirty dishes away. To avoid the spread of the coronavirus, the robot is disinfected every 2 hours. One of Italy's best-loved actors, Gigi Proietti, passed away this week, and the city of Rome held a day of mourning for the actor. Hundreds gathered on Thursday to bid a final farewell to Proietti as a funeral procession snaked through the city.
That's all in this edition of World Today. We'll bring you all the latest developments and in-depth stories in yet another episode of World Today next week. Stay tuned and stay well.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.